loading up, and we are live. Continue. Thank you for that. All right. And have you seen that really weird clickhole image of the last nude image of Hugh Hefner, and it's like Hugh Hefner's head on a giant nose? It's so weird. That is one of the weirdest places sometimes, and clickhole keeps it bizarre. Once Brandon gets back, we can. Which show should we record tonight first? Did you guys read a book for this week? Cool. Brandon. Oh man, I hear that. I understand you loud and clear. I also have to remember how to play Fallout. No. I remember very well how to play Mass Effect because that's literally most of what I've been doing for the past 3 weeks. I beat the second one, and I'm trucking right along in the third one now. That game is very good, but it is also it is massive. It is one of the biggest games I have ever played. It's quite unusual, but it's very good. Totally not Japanese role-playing game music. Although, I mean, I'm used to, like, Ys having, like, Dio-type heavy metal in it. Yes! Brandon, are you ready to record a podcast? Okay, well, we're going to record a podcast whether you want to or not. He is absolutely going to be recording this, so he better get ready for it. Did you finish a book for this week? Okay, well that's what. All right, well, Brandon, whenever the red light is on, I will chime us off, I guess. Well. Right. Does Hal sleep though? That's. Oh God, bloat flies. How do I game? I don't remember how to game. I found melee. Oh, yeah. You keep thinking that, buddy. It does not stay easy. That is, in fact, one of the most challenging Mario games I have ever played, but you have to get to the parts where it's not the beginning anymore. It gets monstrously challenging. It's very good, though. Because here's the thing, you have to collect all those little, like, stamps and all that, and flagpoles and stars and stuff to unlock all of the game. And that game is big. Like, when you finally fight Bowser at the end, there's still, like, 4 or 5 more worlds after that. It's a big, awesome game. Brandon, are you ready to record? Alright, then we are going to record a podcast. Give it a moment of silence for the recording, and I will get us rolling.
Awesome, I get to watch it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Z-Trigger Podcast. My name is William Hill. What? We thank you very much, oh Mr. Roboto, for doing just what nobody wants to. Nobody wants to listen to Kilroy is here. I've never heard the whole thing, so I can't say. Why do you hate Mr. Roboto so much? I mean, it's cheesy, but it's not terrible. Well, I didn't say it was good, but... Oh my, yeah. Man, that's... That is certainly a thing I need to unthink. I'm gonna unthink that by talking about video games. Things I would not be shocked if they existed is Kilroy was here, the video game. I mean, after all, Journey had a video game. Here's the thing that I don't get. Why would anybody want to play the Journey video game? You know, I'm sorry, but you've not convinced me of the reason why that game exists. That game can go right straight to Africa. You ruined my joke. We have now become a Trump-approved podcast. Oh, well, anyway, what kind of games you guys been playing this past 2 weeks since we last recorded? Sorry, again, last week was very busy for us folks, so we're going to be talking about 2 weeks worth of news, which totally feels like 1 week worth of news. I don't know. I want to know what is so expensive. What is so expensive that could derail this? Oops. Oh no. I've heard about this. I've not seen it. $300. Please tell me it comes with a mithril shirt. I am very disappointed. I am not impressed. That is not mithril shirt. I do not want to spend... Completely worthless. Oh my. Nice. Yeah, it's like an old laptop nub. With a little bit, I tried it. Right.
I am currently calling Side Quest the video game because, Jesus, within the first area alone, I've not even done the first story bit because I keep running into side quests. Go out and kill these monsters. Go out and fight them. That introduces you to the trading mechanic, because if a character is named, you can trade with them, and I don't particularly understand the trading mechanic. It's something about the value of the item you give them has to be more than the value you receive. I'm like, well, how is that ever going to benefit me?
I don't think it cares if it benefits you.
I guess it doesn't. But yeah, there's that. Of course, you go out and it almost feels like an MMO without being an MMO. A lot of the, especially when you think about the battle engine, that is really like an MMO, because in MMOs you just engage battle and the character just attacks on their own, and every now and then you hit a special ability and that's your extent of your involvement. That's exactly what it's like in this game, and I guess in the rest of the series. When I first tried it out, I wasn't really expecting that, so I was like, how do I attack? Oh, he just starts attacking. At first, I had to figure out how to even engage an enemy, because there's not, you just approaching it doesn't do anything. If they're not hostile, they'll just hop around your ass. You have to target them and then hit a button, which also involves using the top buttons. Let's see. Other than that, the game, I never really got to see it on the Wii, so I don't know graphically how it compares, but it looks just fine on a 2DS. It's kind of interesting to see a game like that on a little handheld. It shows you how far those things have come in the years. But other than that, I picked up a few games. Like I picked up Pandora's Tower for the Wii, the new Torment game for PS4, and the Tales game for PS4. I don't think there's
Berseria,
more.
Right?
Yeah, there's only that one, right?
No, there's also Zestiria, and Berseria is a prequel of sorts.
Oh.
Yeah,
I love it.
And apparently Berseria is actually much, much, much better than Zestiria is, even though Zestiria is pretty good.
Okay. I'll eventually get to those. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm trying to think if there was any other gaming that I've done. That pretty much is the extent, other than I also picked up the Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii U. Basically, I'm trying to prepare for the new one coming out, but I don't think I'm going to be able to beat both games before it comes out. I don't know if I have that much dedication, because if the rest of the game is anything to explain what the rest of the game is going to be like, I'll be doing side quests for hours, because there's so many.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a massive game. Both of them are. And I've had the same thought of, how am I even going to be able to attempt to finish both of those games in time for the third one, because I'd really like to play through both of those, and then I've got Mario Odyssey coming out at the end of next month that I've already got paid off. So
honestly, I've come to the conclusion I don't care. I'll pick it up, and it'll just sit here until I get done with the other ones. Even though you don't really have to, because it's not like they're connected or anything. But
I know. I mean, it's just a matter of wanting to have done so before I dive into the next one, if you know what I mean.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's on my list. The thing is, I've also kind of got the issue of wanting to finish
Bunch of other games.
Well, I'll get to what I've been playing, and that'll explain some of my being overburdened with gaming at the moment. And but I want to finish Xenogears, not Xenogears, but Xenosaga as well. So I've got to finish one more game to finish that off.
One more game.
I'd love to be able to finish that game, especially after how much I didn't like Xenosaga 2. And I mean, I expect that Xenosaga 3 is gonna be better than the second one, but I mean that you can only go up really from that game.
Honestly, I could say that this series so far is much better than the Xenosaga stuff.
I did really like the first Xenosaga, but
I mean, I don't know. Part of me still remembers the game back in the day and liking it, but I don't think I would ever want to replay it.
It's I will put it this way: I get the feeling that I will agree with you through that whole that rose-colored lenses sort of thing. I'm torn. Like there's so much that I like about what Xenosaga does, and also I have that weird appreciation for what it was doing at the time with Japanese role-playing games. Namely, that they were basically movies that eventually you would get to play a little bit. Which, that's a lot of Japanese games at that time, because, my god, think about the 2 Metal Gear games that came out on the PS2. They are short when you really break them down to just gameplay. And you spend a lot of time staring at cutscenes and conversations in the codec. So, but I get what you mean, but I look upon it fondly and hope that if I ever do decide to replay that second game, that I will find some sort of fresh happiness in it, despite the fact that it's basically a 6-hour game with 15 hours of cutscenes and whatnot. So as for what I've been playing, because I think it's time I do my part, right? I've been playing Mass Effect. I've been playing way more Mass Effect than it's actually sane to play Mass Effect in such a short amount of time. So whenever we last recorded, I still had... How much did I have left, Brandon? Because I finished Mass Effect 1 while you were here, right? Or I got really close to finishing it. I think I had like 2 major story missions left of that game. And then I started Mass Effect 2 and I finished it in 9 days. And I have no regrets about this because it was quite good. Mass Effect 2 was significantly better than Mass Effect 1 in a lot of ways, but now I'm going to piss off most of the internet by saying...
Yeah, because that game got perfect scores.
And here's the thing. It deserves it. It is essentially one of the most completely round and solidly made video games I've ever played. There's nothing about its design that really feels flawed. It is every bit as perfect as its design could be on its own. Now here's why I'm kind of hesitant to say that at times. Whenever you make a sequel, whenever you make an effective quality sequel to a game, the goal is to expand on what was already there and make it a bigger game, you know, and improve upon the things that didn't work in the first one. So Mass Effect 2 improves on the combat of Mass Effect 1 by actually making it, you know, good. And that's not to say Mass Effect 1's combat wasn't innately, like, bad exactly. It's just...
It wasn't perfect Dark Zero.
No, it wasn't Perfect Dark Zero. God, no. I can actually play this game and I didn't want to scream at things. But it had that really weird, you know, I've talked about this on the show before, where in Fallout New Vegas specifically, you could shoot at things. You could shoot something in the head, but because of RPG mechanics, it doesn't do anything because your scores are not high enough. And I'm sorry, but if you shoot a human being in the skull, they're going to die. And I had a lot of that sort of thing happening with Mass Effect 1 as well. So, go into Mass Effect 2, when you give somebody or shoot somebody in the head, they drop. And there's still scoring mechanics involved, but they're not as stringent, I guess is a way to put it. So, but where it lacks, where Mass Effect 2 lacks, is that it feels like a smaller game. I mean, it was shorter, yes, but that's not even what I mean. Like, that is it is not just that it's a game that took me less time to finish, even though it did. It took me about 6 hours less to finish that game than it did Mass Effect 1. But it feels like a smaller... Like, everything about it just feels smaller. The world feels smaller, the segments where... The story segments feel smaller, and in a way, it's a good thing. Like, I don't ever feel like there's no sections of that game where I'm literally just repeating the same ugly little bunker that they threw together and copy and pasted like 12 times across the entirety of the game. There's actual design to all of the side missions, unlike the first game. There's a lot that's done right here for the better of making a good game. But I miss things like taking the Mako down to the planets and exploring and finding the side quest, rather than, hey, here's a side quest, fly to the planet and start doing it. Even though I'm alone, I know most people hate the Mako. And I admit it drives like...
ass.
It drives like 17 turtles duct taped together and riding on a unicycle. It's pretty awful. But I kind of love it at the same time. Like, I admit its flaws, but I miss it so much in Mass Effect 2. Because of what it was in that game. So... Yeah, I'm one of those people that really loves Mass Effect 1 for so much of what it does, and also loves Mass Effect 2 for everything that it made better about the overall design of the game. And the writing is actually better in the second game than it is in the first one. The first one was pretty good, but there's more personality to it in the second game. So, I'm now started Mass Effect 3, and my expectations are pretty low. And I don't know, we're going to see how that goes. I'm glad that I'm finally playing these games and that I'm finally giving them the shot that they deserve, because I bought the stupid trilogy set 5 years ago. And then I moved back to North Carolina and haven't played it. So, it's finally getting its due. I'm looking forward to seeing... that well, actually I updated to the better ending, but I'm looking forward to seeing the ending that rallied the internet together in rage. I'm sure
all that time, all those years for nothing.
All those side quests, and it leads to nothing. I will say, Brandon, when you were describing what I should expect from the side quest stuff, and you said that it doesn't mean anything, I was like, well, damn. I was really worried in Mass Effect 2 that it was going to just be this like, oh yeah, nothing mattered about the first game, and I was pleasantly surprised that there was more brought over than I was expecting. I got to see a lot of the NPCs the second time, and that was cool.
I mean, yeah, I mean they show up, but ultimately it doesn't mean anything. It's just like, hey, you remember this character? You helped them out in the first game. They're here. Did they do anything? No, they're just here.
They didn't do anything in the first game either, though, to be fair.
then why bring them back?
Because it makes the universe that you're in feel cohesive, because those people who are major players are still around and they're still trying to do things in that setting.
The only ones that matter are like that alien race that you had to choose to destroy or let live. Seeing
the Rachni.
Yeah, I let mine survive. So seeing them, yes, that was something to hear about. But ultimately, I wouldn't want to like run into them again just because it doesn't feel like they're trying to make the world cohesive. It feels like sort of like fan service, just like, hey, here's all the stuff you did, we're bringing it back up. It's not going to affect your story any, it's not going to actually broaden your horizons any, it's just here because we're culminating everything you've done, but it ultimately doesn't do anything. If they were to be involved in the final battle, then I would be more accepting. But they're not. They don't do anything.
Okay, you see, I would understand. I understand what you're trying to say, though. That makes sense. But going to the second game, there is no context for that quote-unquote final battle yet. So, whenever I see Conrad Werner acting like a total douchebag in at the Ansari world, which one is the name of what's the name of that planet? Ilium. When you see him on Ilium,
in the second game, it's fine because everyone thinks you're dead. And to just be going around the universe and you randomly run into these characters, they're like, "You're still alive?"
Yeah, because
because everyone literally heard that you were dead.
Yeah,
it's just like Snake Eyes.
I heard you were dead.
Yeah, I get that.
That was also a line in Alien Resurrection.
Mm-hmm. But I don't like Resurrection, so
nobody should actually like Resurrection. I kind of begrudgingly enjoy it for how goofy it is, but it's not a good movie.
A beautiful, beautiful butter.
You are like one of the select few people. I tried rewatching. Now it's like God.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Did they even watch the other films?
It's such a weird movie too.
Yeah, I mean, they have the alien spitting acid.
Yep.
At one point. I'm like,
which is totally not a thing.
Did it have like a mouth ulcer or something so it could?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. It has the herpes. Oh, but yeah, I mean, like, for example, whenever you go to Ilium and you see Conrad Werner and he's dressed up like you are, because, you know, in the first game he was the fan, he was the turbo nerd who thought that that Shepard becoming a Spectre was the greatest thing in the world and everybody should just like humanity should be so proud, and he wanted a picture of you, and like he lost his wife as a result of being this crazy person that he is, and he's pushing people around, and you know, because did
they get like inspiration from Ultima 9?
Oh man, I hope not, because they pulled it off better than Ultima 9.
From what I hear, that wouldn't take much.
Yeah, it wouldn't, because Ultima 9 is it's a dumpster fire of a game. I must have already done this settlement. No. What was some other ones? So, whenever you see like the TV personality who ruined your story and made you look like a total McFly on television.
Did you punch her?
I did not punch her. I could have, but I earned my Paragon points.
I totally punched her. I was like, totally worth it.
It's like, give me them renegade points. Yeah.
Exactly. I will fully accept those renegade points.
I was really upset that there's not an achievement for maxing out your Paragon in the second game, because I totally maxed out Paragon. I would have roleplayed more if I had known there was literally no kind of reward for it. I know that's a really stupid way to say it, but like, there's no reward for the
Paragon. That's the reasons why BioWare gets a little bit of a bad rap for their their system of good and evil, because ultimately it doesn't amount to anything.
Yeah. My Lord. No, so yeah, I'm very impressed with Mass Effect 2. It's pretty much as good as everybody said it was. I still think there are things about the first one that are better, and I know I'm in the minority there. But what breaks my heart is I've been told that with Andromeda they were trying to bring back those things that were missing from the other two games that people liked about the first one, like driving the Mako and going to all the planets and doing the stuff. And then that was not in the game in a good way at all. It was really dumpstery as well. But I just blame EA at this point.
It is their fault, and they gave the series off to a company they shouldn't have, because who the fuck knows why. It didn't have anybody related to the original series involved, except for the Mac Walters, who was the writer from Mass Effect 3. So there you go.
Yeah, and he's and I don't know why they would give him a shot, because let's face it, nothing special about his writing in that game. I swear the pulse of that series really belonged to Drew Karpyshyn. You know, because he wrote the first two games. He wrote the good ones.
Yeah, and the only reason why he didn't do the third one is because they moved him to Knights of the Old Republic. So you can blame that mediocre MMO for subpar third entry.
Yeah, they shouldn't have done that, because that never really panned out. Like, that game apparently is not bad, but there's a lot about it that makes me angry too. Like things I've already mentioned about the ethics system and such.
Well, so like I said, their ethics systems don't do anything, and they constrict more than they allow for more engaging gameplay.
Right.
But with Andromeda, if the story had been better, a lot of its other problems would have been ignored.
Right.
But the story was so piss poor that it didn't matter how much you improved the battle engine; it just didn't matter, And now it's to the point they canceled all DLC, and they don't know if there will be a sequel.
Which is quite the opposite of the original plan, because wasn't there supposed to be like 5 Mass Effect games in this cycle or something? Maybe. It was something crazy like that.
I mean, the things like they closed down that studio, it merged them with Motive Studios, and like, yes, this creates doubt upon the Mass Effect franchise. It's like, no, it doesn't. They're going to do Mass Effect. That there's no way they're not going to try again. That would just be fucking stupid.
Well, until they shutter BioWare completely.
It's like the next thing they're going to pay attention to is Anthem, which, which I mean, you say that, but at the same time, it does have that writer you like so much.
Who, Karpyshyn?
Yeah.
I can't care about it because it looks so Destiny.
It's because it literally is Destiny with added extra features
with probably better writing, but that's not
probably
enough.
Honestly, it's probably going to be like the Destiny we've always wanted.
Yeah, but
that'd be kind of sad.
I still don't want to play that though. If I wanted to play a game where all I do is walk around and shoot things forever and ever and ever and never really have any change in
well,
gameplay.
See, that's why I said the Destiny we wanted, not the Destiny we got.
But the Destiny but the Anthem they're showing is just Destiny so far.
Well, that's because all they want to show is the game. It's just the combat. They're not going to show anything else, because that's what people are going to be focused on, I guess. I don't know why they chose to show off what they did. I guess because it showed the most amount of mechanics from the game.
Yeah.
So
I guess, but at the same time, I'm having a hard time believing I'll ever give a crap about it. Maybe it'll come out and somebody will say, "Yeah, this is the game you need to play, Brad, because it's the game you want. It's the super special science fiction hors d'oeuvre dinner that you've always dreamed of." That did not make any sense at all. I am so sorry. No. But I mean, maybe we'll finally get a game from BioWare that's worth being played again, rather than, you know.
At least in this game, you can do single player if you want. You don't have to go into a squad like in Destiny. So I don't know. Well, it's going to have to wait and see, because we ain't gonna get this game until the end of 2018.
Oh no, yeah. That is quite a wait.
Yeah. I mean, what? The game I want ain't gonna come out till the year after that. So
true. I don't know. Having a hard time being excited about no matter how I try and wrap my brain around it, I cannot get excited about it. Sort of like I can't get excited about playing Fallout 4 tonight.
Honestly, I don't like Fallout 4 all that much. If you want to talk about, I did give Bethesda a little bit of like credit for the fact that with every single entry, they may not, push the boundaries of mechanics, but they always did broaden the games. They made writing a little better. They made the combat a little better. But in Fallout 4, it all feels like the same while taking a step back, because they've removed a lot of the RPG elements for this like streamlined skills system that sucks.
Yeah. And
they didn't improve on anything. Instead, they shoehorned in this, hey, you want to build a town? Well, here's this really shitty, not very well thought out building mechanic that sucks. If I've not said that yet, it sucks.
It's cumbersome, to be sure.
So I don't know. They really, for the length of time between 3 and this one, there was absolutely no reason to get as little advancement as we got, which was none.
Right. I think my issue is that I don't know. I'm not engaged with it at all. It's okay.
Boring.
It's an okay game, but here's the problem. As far as the Bethesda style Fallouts go, New Vegas is still the best, and Bethesda didn't make that one. Obsidian did. They made the Fallout game that I liked enough that I put up with some of its more frustrating design elements, and I finished it. That is the only Bethesda-style role-playing game I've ever gone to the end with, and that is worth noting to me, because, frankly, I just, it's so hard for me to stick with a Bethesda-style role-playing game, and I know that there are people who think that they make the best games and the best role-playing games and the best open worlds, but they really don't.
No, I mean there's tons of better companies.
They make fine sandboxes in that there's a ton of stuff you can do, and it gives you a lot of free reign to do all the stuff that you want to do. Like if you want to go and chop down trees, you have the option. But if
you really think about the history of Bethesda games, they've actually, what was it, Daggerfall? You could literally do a hell of a lot more in Daggerfall than you can in Skyrim.
Yep. For better and for worse, you can do more in Daggerfall than in Skyrim.
Yeah.
Because that game is, it's a little unwieldy in its size. There's no way to see all of that game in all realism. Like, that is a big friggin' game. Isn't it still one of the largest world maps of any game in history?
Yeah.
It's like
but that was
1,000 square miles or something.
That was back when they were more focused on D&D style than what they eventually turned into.
Right.
But I mean, but Obsidian has a much longer history of producing better story-oriented content. Aside from Alpha Protocol, I don't know what the fuck happened with Alpha Protocol, but the rest of their stuff is pretty damn good. You know, I love Knights of the Republic 2. Neverwinter Nights 2 is great. I don't know if I could say it's better than the first one because I never finished it.
I never finished that one either, and I need to.
But their more recent stuff, Pillars of Eternity, I love it. It's great. It's very much, you know, back in the day of their that damn fucking shit. What the fuck is the name of that damn series they did for PC back in the day?
Did they do Icewind Dale, or I thought that was BioWare?
Yes, Icewind Dale and Baldur's Gate.
Right. I thought those were both Black Isle titles, though.
They were Black Isle.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That's why I say they have a much larger history of creating story-oriented games in these big, massive open worlds.
And again, I stand. Fallout used the open world that it made much more effectively and far more interestingly. I'm sorry, like, the plot of Fallout 3. Go and find your dad. Fallout 4. Go and find your son. In New Vegas, it was, go and find the guy who left you for dead in a shallow grave in Las Vegas.
And find out why.
Yes, and then take over Vegas in a way of your choosing.
To.
Yeah, if you want to, you can completely take over Vegas, but you do it your way. And there's a lot of different ways to end that game. And
you do it your way?
He did it his way.
So it's just a gigantic McDonald's commercial?
No, it's like that lounge song.
It's like a Frank Sinatra song.
Yeah.
As used in the new Kingsman trailers.
God, I need to see that movie.
So do I.
All I have to say is Elton John.
Elton John?
Yep.
Elton John.
Yep. I had heard about that.
Yeah, Elton John's fantastic.
I have not heard about this. Please do not spoil it. I need to experience this the right way whenever I finally get my Movie Pass card and go see it. I hope the Movie Pass card's coming soon because...
You still haven't gotten that
No,
thing?
we have not gotten our stupid Movie Pass card yet, and I want it bad. They are killing us, man. So, yeah.
So you play Mass Effect?
No. We were on Fallout.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not just the only stuff that's missing from Fallout nowadays. So I want to echo on this because Fallout 1 turns 20 this weekend. Tomorrow, as of when we are recording. Saturday the 30th, I guess, is when Fallout 1 came out way back in 1997. And it's not even like the first one and the third through fourth one are not even recognizable next to each other anymore. And that's unusual and upsetting, kind of, because there will always be people who think that the first two are better than the other ones, and then there are people who never played a damn PC game in their life who will say that 3 and so on are much better because they're action games. And I feel like a lot of I feel like there's some stuff that's lost in translation and not as good about the Bethesda stuff.
Oh yeah, you definitely lose quite a bit when you Bethesda it up.
When you Bethesda it.
Yeah, when you try to take Bethesda and make it into an adjective.
No, I guess
honestly, I remember when they first said Bethesda got a hold of Fallout series. It was like, what the fuck is that going to be? And then they showed the pictures. It was like, That's not Fallout. What are they doing?
They made it very green.
And when I finally played it, they do, at least with the Fallout 3, they did get the feel.
They sort of get the feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's not completely there. They tried to include all the different facets from the Fallout series, because, I mean, originally it was a tactical RPG.
Yeah.
With, and I don't know. They tried.
That means I'd have never played it.
I mean, it's not. It's
in
not
all seriousness,
tactical.
Fallout 1 and 2 are not. They're not like strategy RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics, but they are definitely smarter than me.
It's like basically it's like you walk around like a normal RPG until you get into a battle, which then turns into you walk a few steps. You basically have like a number of little dots, and the dots could basically say what you could do, how many actions you have, as certain motions.
So it's more like chess.
Sort of.
It's an interesting hybrid to describe. Brandon, tell me this. Sorry to interrupt, but I want to know this. Is your love for the original Fallout games part of the reason you hate Final Fantasy Tactics?
Oh God, no. I played Tactics long before I played Fallout.
Okay. I was just curious because there's an interesting correlation between those two things.
I mean,
in terms
97. When did Tactics come out?
97.
Yeah, 97.
Well, see, I didn't have a PC in '97, so I didn't play Fallout 1 and 2 until much later.
Yeah, you didn't play those until we were in high school and Kmart closed. And you bought the collection.
Yeah. That was a good buy.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We bought some really good stuff at that Kmart closing.
Yeah, my hatred for Tactics is a creation from the game itself, and just the game itself.
Okay. I didn't know if that had evolved at some point because of playing a game like that where you get the thing that you say you want from Tactics, which is the ability to go and roleplay and explore and do stuff. And also have that combat, sort of.
It's like, I don't mind the combat in the first two games because it's like you walk around. I want to attack that thing. You attack. There's really not a lot of strategy involved. Just hope you don't die.
Yeah, it's more of a I don't want to lose kind of tactic, and that's what quick save was invented for.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever beaten Fallout 1 and 2 without using quick save at all are the most impressive people I've ever met, because I couldn't get out of the training tutorial in Fallout 2 without quick saving. That's how hard I had it with that game when I tried to play it.
I mean, just if you want to talk more about why New Vegas is so good, even the people involved in the original Fallout made New Vegas. That there is no better studio to do Fallout than Obsidian, based on the pedigree that's involved with the company.
You know, given the goodwill towards New Vegas from the fan point of view at this point, one wonders why they haven't given them all of the stuff they did with Fallout 4 and said, "Hey, pull a New Vegas out of your ass. We want this. Bring it on."
I don't know why. I mean, you would think they would, just so they could have more games out instead of every 5 to 8 years. It feels like. I know it may not be that long, but it's what it feels like sometimes.
They do have one of the longest development cycles of any studio in existence. They make Square look fast by comparison.
It was 5 years from New Vegas to Fallout 4, because I'm looking at it now, and it was 2 years between Fallout 3 and New Vegas.
They also have that juggernaut called Skyrim in there too.
Yeah, that's not on this timeline, so I don't know the year of its release, but I know it was between New Vegas and Fallout 4, of course. But still, so see, 2008.
Which I'm surprised they're not trying to. I'm surprised they're not trying to milk Fallout to death like they were Skyrim.
Well, Skyrim's honestly, as most of the people like the the Fallout's, they like Elder Scrolls more. 2011. So almost 4 years between 3 and Skyrim. And now they're not even. As far as I can tell, they're not even close to starting development on the new Elder Scrolls.
I don't know what they're doing. Take their time. I think they're going to take their time making that one and actually possibly do a new engine, since I can imagine they're tired of getting criticized for using that clunky old thing that they made for Oblivion, whatever it was called. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Oblivion. I can't believe it's been that damn long.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's been even longer, considering. I can't look up. I know that there's a name for that tool set.
11 years.
Yep, and it looks like it's 11 years old.
It looks like Game Bro, but I know it's not.
Gamebryo.
Gamebryo.
Yeah, Gamebryo. That's exactly what it is. They're still using like a modified version of that or something like that.
That's a long time of using a single engine.
If you modify an engine enough, you can get away with using the same engine forever and ever. Amen. But they haven't modified it enough, and Fallout 4 only looks slightly cleaner than New Vegas. Oh my lord!
Did they ever fix all the glitches and bugs in New Vegas in 3?
That's cute, Trent. You think that they cared about fixing their bugs?
That's like one of the few companies that doesn't get, attacked for their bugs. It's like, yeah, there are bugs, but really no one says anything.
I think it's just because everybody's like consigned to their fate.
So they're not game-breaking.
It depends on what console you're playing on.
Fallout New Vegas was almost unplayable on the PS3 simply because of
Fallout 3.
Yeah, it's because they have the same problem, and that's that they have a memory leak. As your save file gets bigger, it crashes more frequently because it has a hard time handling the size of your save file.
And eventually it just doesn't load anymore.
Wow.
Oh, I mean, I never got that far, but yeah, it can literally just ruin your game to play it for too long.
I mean, I own New Vegas and Fallout 3 now on the 360. Haven't even put them in the game system yet, but...
In all seriousness, play New Vegas, you will have a blast as long as you can get into the vibe of it. Especially once you reach New Vegas itself, that game becomes an utter blast. I loved that game. The one thing I don't like about it, the thing that's most frustrating, is how much it relies on your decision to deal with certain factions and how you interact with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can screw yourself so hard by siding with certain factions at certain times. And okay, so I know I've told this story on the show before, but I'm going to tell you again because consider it a cautionary tale for yourself this time, Trent.
Okay.
So I allied myself with the NCR purely on the grounds that they had resources that were good, and also they were nice and organized and directly in the middle of the main map. And Caesar's Legion was not directly in the middle of the map, therefore not as much of an immediate threat to deal with. Until I sided with the NCR. And then they became the most horrific jerks on a regular basis. Like they would like rally together and come charging up the road to find me, and it's like they did not die easy. I had to break out rocket launchers to do damage because no other gun would hurt them. It was embarrassingly bad how hard of a time I had playing that game purely because of Caesar's Legion. Stomping. There was one point in the game where I literally had to go through a canyon where there were, oh god, what are the horrible mutants called that can completely ruin you?
Super mutants?
No, they're not super mutants. They're some other sort of thing like that, but they're not super mutants. The night something.
Night Stalkers?
Yes.
Are they Night Stalkers?
Are they Night Stalkers?
They're the big beasts, right?
Yeah. Well, anyway, Night Stalkers complete. Like, I had to go near a Night Stalker encampment just to get anywhere in the game.
Is it Death Stalker?
I can't remember. It's been so long.
Death Stalkers. Yep, they're the big gigantic creatures with claws that will fuck you up.
Yep, that's them. I had to go through their encampment and not get caught to get somewhere in the game, to get to Vegas the first time, because on the road to Vegas I would always get stopped by the Centurions and they ruined me. Because they
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough going. I don't know how I ended up beating the game, but I never dropped the difficulty, which is something I'm kind of proud of here. A year later. I really liked that game. I thoroughly enjoyed New Vegas. And that's why, I would love to see more from Obsidian in this case. But speaking of Obsidian, somebody recently said, why isn't there a sequel to Alpha Protocol, Brandon?
Who said this? Why the fuck would you even mention that?
I saw it on N4G.
What are you, cruising for a bruising? What the fuck is wrong with you? No. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what happened with that game, because literally pretty much everything else they've ever done has been really good. For whatever reason, that one just blew up in their faces.
I want to play it. I want to play it and see what it is going on there. But I'd have to buy a copy.
It's bad. Cheap?
I gathered. Is it cheap?
Yeah, it's cheap.
How cheap is cheap?
I think it was cheap when I bought it. I think it was like $5 when I bought it.
I thought you pre-ordered that game.
Did I?
Yeah, I think you paid the $60 for it.
I don't know. No, I ended up not doing it because they kept pushing it off, and eventually I was like, well, this game's never fucking coming out, and I dropped the pre-order.
I feel like you got it really early on, though. Or maybe it just dropped in price that fast.
It's $2.99.
PS3 or Xbox?
Xbox.
Is there a PS3 version? I don't remember.
Maybe it has something to do because it's Sega. Sega was involved. Let's blame it on Sega. Fuck Sega. Yes, there's a PS3 version, and it's also $2.99.
Well, I'm just gonna have to find me a copy, Brandon, and see what is going on there, because I mean, it sounds like such a cool game, an RPG shooter where you're a spy.
What doesn't make any sense is it has a very positive rating on PC.
What? Really?
I don't know. Yes, I'm on Steam right now because I saw that it had over 2,000 reviews and all of them positive. I'm like, who the hell is playing this game and why are they giving it good reviews?
You see? I mean, maybe there's something good in there that we don't know about. How much did you play it?
I don't remember. Dude, this has been so long, I don't remember.
Yeah, we were still living together.
His answer is entirely too much.
Yeah, I mean, this was 7 years ago when the damn thing came out.
Man, I feel old now. So anyway, in the not feeling old category, I didn't play Ultima Online until recently, and it's 20 years old now.
What's recently?
I played it last year. I tried out a free server last year.
Okay.
That game is so it's getting a free-to-play version called Endless Journey, and this is to celebrate its legacy, and it's going to come with everything up to the Stygian Abyss expansion. And that's a whole lot of video gaming for free there. And I mean, of course, there's going to be some free-to-play garbage kind of like packaged in on it because it's EA, and of course they're going to. They got to keep making money on that 20-year-old game that worked just fine on 56K dial-up, you know? So, here's the thing I'm kind of wondering about is, like, I cannot believe that they still have enough subscribers to the original game to warrant charging the $15 a month that it still costs. But
I can't believe the servers are still up.
I mean, considering, maybe it's a legacy thing, sort of like. But then again, isn't EverQuest offline now, like the original EverQuest?
Is it?
I don't know. I mean, I seem to think that it eventually.
Yes, it did. No, that's Mac. Is it still going?
What, EverQuest? I mean, you're looking right now. You would be able to tell better than me.
Yeah, but I don't see anything about it ending.
Huh.
Decline. Sony saw the rights.
Sony sold the rights to EverQuest.
Hell, they released a new expansion in 2015.
Let no game go into the dark.
Yeah, that game's still going.
Jeez.
It's you know, another company is running it, I guess. But yeah, but Ultima Online is 20 years old.
Yep. EverQuest's only 18. I think it came out in 99, right?
Wow.
It's legal now.
Yeah, but neither of them can drink. And I swear, I'm pretty sure that I'm sure Ultima Online could use a drink after its after its history. Brandon and I've kind of on and off talked about playing it though. That's the really funny thing. We've
well, now that it's being free.
Well, I mean, it's free when you play a free server. It's just this version's free, and I'm wondering how much more it's updated than the free ones are because I swear I cannot get around the interface of the original.
Well, you should play the enhanced version, see how that gets you.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, is this a thing we're going to try at some point?
Once the free thing comes out, I mean, I want to play on. I don't want to sit here and try to. I guess it must not be that hard to play on a custom server.
Oh no, it's simple. Like I've probably got my access to one of them on my computer right now in a folder. Because I mean, I downloaded a client that's specifically for it. So interesting though that this is a game we're still talking about after 20 years, not in just a historical context, but that game is still online and playable. And I know a degree of that has to go with how vast and massive the Ultima fan base is in terms of its obsession. Because Ultima fans are they're one of the oldest online communities, and not only are they one of the oldest online communities, they're also one of the most obsessive and dedicated to their game, going so far as to being, well, let's be honest, a bit pretentious about their love for it. So, the case in point, whenever it was even mentioned that the new one, Shroud of the Avatar, might get a console port, they're like, they basically acted like, oh, these filthy casuals, they don't want to play this kind of role-playing game. This isn't like a console RPG. They wouldn't want anything to do with that. It's like, I mean, give console players some credit. They'll try stuff, But that just did not sit well with them that I said such a thing. So they're defensive about their series, and they want it to be exactly what it is forever, and that's why they'll keep this. I don't know if they've improved the UI over time, but man, I'll tell you, Brandon, you're gonna be, when you find, if you play the original, or at least as a version like I played, I don't know how to do anything in that game. I don't. And, I've tried talking to NPCs to find quests and stuff, and I never figured it out at all. So, I was going somewhere with this. Where was I going? Yeah, it'd be interesting it's interesting that this game is still around, given the lack of ease of entry in terms for new players. That means probably this game still got people who literally put over $1,000 into their subscription costs over time, because they probably still got their original houses from the first game. So yeah, that's just interesting. So yeah, cool thing that it's still around, and odd that it's only just now getting a free-to-play version. So that. All right. So Tokyo Game Show was last week. The thing that we didn't really ever get a chance to talk about, going missing last week. Did you guys see anything at all that you thought was interesting at TGS?
Not really.
Not really? Well,
No.
There's one reason for that, in particular. Nothing was announced. I don't feel like anything interesting was actually announced at the entirety of TGS. There were no surprises, no special trailers. Actually, there was one surprise that was kind of interesting, and everything else was just nothingness. It was empty air. And the most interesting thing I heard about was the game that's in the new game in the Front Mission universe, which I just completely blanked on the name of.
Left Alive?
Yes, Left Alive. Sorry, I knew it was a survival-y title. So Left Alive, big mechs from the Metal Gear artist Joji Shinkawa, and it's set in the Mass Effect universe. That's kind of cool.
It's what?
It's set in the Mass Effect, not Mass Effect. God, Front Mission. Front Mission.
I was like, excuse me? It's set in the Mass Effect universe?
God,
really?
I've been playing too much Mass Effect, clearly.
Excuse me? Baking powder?
Did you say $10,000 or $5,000? Oh, yeah. I think that was the most interesting thing. Also, odd move. That was a surprise from Square. It was the only surprise they really had, because what they should have announced was, hey, we got a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 or Final Fantasy 7. We have something to show you that people are really asking for. But instead, they got us a new.
Why?
Game.
I mean, the PlayStation experience is only a couple of months away. Why waste it?
Is it even months away? Isn't it like next month?
December.
I thought that was an October thing for some reason. Why do we have to wait for December, man? I want to see some big announcements, and Sony hasn't had a very good year for big announcements.
Honestly,
No one has.
That's because they only do it at the PlayStation experience. Like last year, we heard about all the big titles that are coming out for this year, and at the experience, and they came out, and now we're just waiting for the next experience to find out what's coming out next year.
Yeah, but at least they had something at E3 in 2016.
What
Now
they
it's. I mean, I'd have to go and look to see.
I think Horizon was their biggest thing.
And it was at E3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that was their biggest thing.
But at least they had something. This year they had nothing.
Zilch.
Hey, they had that biker zombie game.
Like I said, they had zilch. They had one of the most boring open world games I've seen in a long time. More Zombies, the game.
Whoa. They aren't creating a Ubisoft game.
Oh, that's funny because I'm playing Assassin's Creed right now.
You are?
Yeah.
When did we switch to that?
You're supposed to be monitoring our chat, and you didn't know that I had switched to that.
We're not. We're talking about Fallout. Your ass is playing fucking Assassin's Creed.
To be fair, I was playing Doom by the time we finished talking about Fallout.
Doom, Jesus.
I also played some Doom, yes.
Stick with a game!
I'd like to, but I'm having a hard time sticking with anything.
So did you switch it out about the time when you said, and I'm not really getting into Fallout 4?
Hell, it still shows you playing Doom. Oh, now it's switched.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Don't you mean now it switched?
I'm not playing the Switch. Although
I
Doom
know.
Doom is going to the Switch. But we talked about that on the last podcast.
Yeah, that we never posted.
Oh my god, I didn't, did I? I am the worst when it comes to getting our show online. I'm really good at preparing for a show. I'm not really good at releasing a show.
Oh, this is an Assassin's Creed. This is Pirates, the video game.
Yeah, this is Pirates of the Stabby Bean here.
Yeah.
I have that game. I've not played it yet.
As you can see, I haven't played it either because this is the beginning.
I forgot to say what games I played this week.
That's because Brad, hijacked the conversation for the past hour.
Oh, really? It's my fault.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks.
Mister, I want to talk about Fallout.
Well, I also want to talk about Mass Effect, so I wanted to talk about AAA games. Oh, you know what? We never had an opportunity to talk about the most ridiculous news in gaming as of late. And it's not on our list, so I'm going to bring this one up real quick. It's been covered to death and been talked about by everybody under the sun except for us, so it's our turn, I think. NBA 2K18. Sports games. Yearly, annual releases that still cost $60, even though it's just a tiny bit of features and graphics upgrades, and then maybe they just throw in some stuffs.
And next year will be sold at GameStop in their $10 bin.
Yes, exactly. If you know, actually, some of those damn games are like $30 still.
When I went the other day, they had last year's games for like $5.
Wow. You see, I've not seen that because I looked at PS4 launch Madden is still $10 used. And that's
funny because last year's Madden is only $1.
Are you serious?
I'm fairly sure it was because I was looking at GameStop buy two get one, and that was like one of the first games that popped up for PS4 used, and it's only a bloody $1.
Oh man, I'm going to GameStop tomorrow. I need a new Madden.
Oh,
game.
I'm sorry, it was Madden 15.
Oh,
so two years ago.
Well, I mean, clearly I don't care.
Yeah.
I want an old Madden game for if I ever want to play a round of football.
Foosball.
So you can be ready for football.
I don't think I'm ready for football anymore.
Yes, NBA 2K16 is only $5.
Wow.
Yeah, and GameStop does have a sale going on this weekend.
Yeah.
So I could go get all three of them for less than $10, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it'd be fairly cheap.
I say that, but
is FIFA one of the games?
Only if you can get a used copy, and nobody's going to trade their copy of FIFA in. Well, anyway, we're at,
I don't see any cheap FIFA games, so.
Oh.
It's because people who play. That's because people who play real football take their sports games seriously.
That's right.
So, NBA 2K18. So, this game has garnered quite a bit of controversy as of late for the very simple fact that it's a $60 game with an absurd over-reliance on microtransactions. I have not played this game myself. I've not looked into the microtransactions either because, in all seriousness, who cares about NBA 2K18 except for people who like basketball games? And in this case, I'm only really upset because they're getting screwed, from what I understand. One website,
Is this an EA game?
no, it's a 2K sports game.
Oh.
This one site went so far as to give this game a 3 out of 10 because it was so over-reliant on microtransactions for its gameplay. 2K had the balls to go after them and tell them to pull their review off the net because it was not a fair review.
I hope they laughed at them.
Oh no, they pulled the score down.
What?
Yeah.
I guess they're because they want to keep getting games to review from this company.
Oh, they eventually reinstated it after they made sure that 2K was aware that, hey, we gave this game a bad score because of your crappy microtransactions. This was not a mistake. It was so this debacle has been very loud, and it raises the question once again: why are $60 games coming with nickel and diming microtransactions to, and in a sports game of all things? What are you paying for?
Honestly, it's just something that's been building up because EA's been putting microtransactions in their shit for a while.
Yeah, they have those stupid cards and all that garbage, right?
Yeah, and their people are addicted to those things.
Yeah, I know. That's how Joe got hacked that time. It was so weird. Like the hack happened, and the day that it happened, I realized that, oh look, my account has FIFA on it. I don't have FIFA. Did Jeremy play my Xbox for some reason? And he had not.
Does he like FIFA?
I mean, I don't know, but he likes sports games, so it seemed, reasonable to suspect, And I got 2 achievements out of that person scamming my wife for $300.
Were they at least high numbered achievements?
No, they were not. I got 10 gamer score for that $300 they stole from us.
Oh, lame sauce.
Jerks. But, okay, so here's the thing. Microtransactions in Assassin's Creed. Dumb. Really dumb. Offensively stupid. Why do we need this thing in this game? But at the same time, some people suck at video games and would not mind paying $10 for some points so that they can get better weapons right out of the gate. That is a thing. I am not that person. I think that's kind of lame. But sports games. I don't see a benefit here. The card thing doesn't even make sense to me. Nothing about this sounds like a legitimate benefit that is worth me putting $20 in 2K or EA Funbucks on my account to waste on some digital goodies or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not the right market for that, or maybe I'm just not stupid enough. Who knows? But it is terrifyingly sad to me that a proper journalistic review got pulled off the net because somebody felt upset that they called them out on their crap. And that sucks. That is a horrifying and sad thing. But I digress. We have I think we got one more here on the queue, and this one's another sad farewell, but it's a farewell that's still a year and a half away. And one I'm kind of stunned by. I thought that this had already happened. So the Wii Shop channel is finally going to be closed down in 2019. This is a thing that I thought was already closed. Dead serious.
Well, before then, we get the stupid Weverse or the Miiverse taken down next month or the month after that.
Which is crazy that a newer service is going to go away long before the Wii eStore closes down. You can't even buy a new Wii anymore, but you can still buy games on its service. I don't even know where you'd go to buy a points card for the Wii, because they never converted to the to actual cash currency, they still had the points thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty stunning. What's really funny, when I think Brandon, you sent the news story, right? Or was it Trent?
I didn't.
Okay, so when Brandon sent the news story out, I thought it was really funny that the tag for the article was that that shop channel music will live on in our memories forever. And as soon as I read that, I was like, dun, 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 dun. I lament this. I also lament not having bought more eShop games whenever I did.
Why? Because at this stage you'd be losing them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but they had that was the best virtual console library, and why it never didn't directly connect over to the Wii U is astonishing. Like, those games should just be available. I don't know why they started the entire library over again. I
don't know why, because it's Nintendo.
Nintendo does all sorts of really weird
and
crap.
they've never been able to. I don't know why they haven't been able to understand online. It's not like you can't hire people to help with these things.
Yeah, and they sort of have now.
Well, supposedly, I still haven't seen anything.
Well, we haven't seen them launch anything, and also they haven't said anything. They've got 2 months left. 3 months left to make clear their online plans, because they said their online goes fully live in 2018. So where's it at? You know?
Well, when in 2018?
Yeah, when? They need to make this stuff clear and done already.
Abstergo.
Abstergo. I don't know what I'm doing. This is a really weird interface, and it's also first person right now. And because I'm not listening to the dialogue and I don't have stuff turned on, I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, I think that is it for this episode. Unless Trent wants to pop in with what he played this week, since I interrupted and
just very quickly, I played some Super Mario 3D World and Super Mario 3D Land. Different systems, different games, same
design concept.
Yeah. Both of them I like quite a bit.
Yeah, I like Mario 3D World so much that I hate that I haven't played through and beaten all of Mario 3D Land / I don't own it even. I need to.
I'm trying to get through a world on Super Mario 3D Land a day. So I'm on World 4 now.
Very nice. It took me about a month of non-stop play to get through everything I got through in 3D World. That is a big and incredibly challenging game.
Wow.
It's very good though, and I posted in your Facebook post about it that there's a way to get 1,200 lives.
Yeah.
Do it.
I'll need it.
You'll need it. You'll need it so bad, especially for stuff like the horrible little level where you have to ride that stupid walrus or whatever.
Oh yeah, I saw a video review of the game that showed that. Yeah.
Eat it, Fishy Joe's. Ride the walrus.
They said it's annoying.
It is incredibly annoying, and you have to get those 3 stars, and that's not easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, you go into level 2 or whatever, the one that's in underground, and you grab a turtle shell, and you go between a wall, like 2 walls, or like a pipe and a wall, and square yourself up really nice so it'll just bounce back and forth between the 2 spots. Throw it and jump and just bounce on the shell, and let your timer run out doing that, and you'll get an extra life for every time you do that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'll definitely use that.
Yeah, because I mean, it's every single game in the series comes with. I mean, it has a thing like that to kind of help you get by, as it were.
Well, I mean, on 3D Land, I'm up to World 4, and I've got 50-something lives.
Nice.
It almost feels a little handicapped.
I mean, it might be because it was one of those early 3DS games.
Also, I'm used to the original Super Mario where, they didn't give one-ups that much.
Yeah, Mario Land was not the hardest game in the world, but it could be challenging.
And I'm not using walkthroughs, and I'm getting when I say I'm up to World 4, I've been getting all the stars on each one, so it takes a while.
Well, yeah.
I also started Xenoblade Chronicles X. And by started, I mean I'm still in the prologue, because I think the prologue might take a few hours.
No, the prologue's not too bad. It's not short by any means. But
I'm in the ship thing.
In the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that means you're almost out of the prologue.
Okay.
And then you go into the part of the game that I'm still in, the first area, which is big.
The first time I started playing it, I'd come up across these monsters, and, you'll have level 15 monsters right beside level 3 ones.
Yep.
So, and I'm still at level 2. I'm at level 4 now, but at the time I was at level 2. And so I got my ass beaten quite a bit. Not to mention the fact I didn't know how the battle system worked. I now know how that works, so I'm doing quite a bit better now. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's a beautiful game to look at too.
Oh yeah, it's a gorgeous game. I love the design of it. The only thing that I really am not a big fan of is the little quests you do for the townspeople, and they're important that you do them. They're just a bit fetch questy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's what it's like in the first one.
I'm gonna have a hard time getting through all 3 of those games by year's end.
But yeah, I'm really liking the Wii U that I bought. I have, I bought 2 of the 2 HD remasters of Zelda games that are on the system, Wind Waker and
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess. I have not played either one of them. I've been watching my sister play Wind Waker a little bit, and I'm not a big fan of that game.
What, Wind Waker?
Yeah, I know a lot of people call it one of the best Zelda games there is. It's too cartoony for me. That's the only reason. Way too cartoony.
In all seriousness, that is one of the charms of it for me, and also the expression that it adds is a huge part of how you actually get through some of the combat. Like,
What do you mean?
Okay, so the further you get in the game and the more elaborate the combat sequences get, and sometimes the fighting gets really technical, the enemies all telegraph the attacks they're about to do, and because they have such vibrant facial expressions allowed by the cartooniness of the graphics, you'll know what their attack is about to be, and you can get an upper hand on them in combat.
Oh, okay.
So it's.
I'm just not a fan of the art style at all.
Oh, I mean, that's fair. It's a very good game, though. Like, the actual game design is top notch, except for the sailing. There's too
But in the
much
remaster,
sailing.
they've given you a faster sail. So
That's good because it's slow in the original. Twilight Princess, though. Twilight Princess is probably my favorite classic Zelda game.
I hear that it's quite divisive, actually.
It is. And part of that is...
Some people think it's too dark.
Oh no, how dare it be dark. I love the art style myself. I like the setting, I like the story, it's very good.
Yeah, and one of these days I'll buy Skyward Sword, but it's so expensive.
What, it's $60?
Well, I mean, for a used Wii game, I mean, they don't have an update for it for the Wii U. They never got around to it. And also it used the Wiimote a little too much to possibly do that. It was very motion-based.
Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
For some reason, my brain went, my brain went a different direction. I thought you were talking about, Breath of the Wild.
Oh, no. I plan to get that one, too, since that is on the Wii U.
Yeah, and it's so good, says the guy who still hasn't done the final dungeon yet.
And since I'll probably not get a Switch for another year or two, just based on how slow the games are coming out. The good ones, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, by the end of the year, I'm just like, oh, Zelda and Mario, that's all I want.
I've got quite a library of Switch games. There's some really good stuff on the system. And
now that I can find a Switch very easily, because the local GameStops here have numerous Switches available. So I wish it was that way with the SNES Classic, sort of.
Whoa, we're not going to talk about that thing. There's harsh feelings, and we've beaten that horse to death.
Right, and I wasn't, and it doesn't really bother me. So
now that said, Brandon's going to bring his to my house next time he visits, so I can play some games.
Yes, I will bring a photo.
I will stab you in the throat,
and I will make sure that I am in the photo playing it.
Playing Star Fox 2?
Yeah.
Man, who needs enemies with friends like that, right?
You're damn right.
Oh. But yeah, I think that's all the games I played. I bought a lot, but haven't played much. With work, it is hard to find time to play.
I know that's like, although I've played way too much in the past couple weeks.
Okay, I'll put it this way: between work and reading,
and speaking of that, I think it is time that we end this show because we got to record another one.
It's time to switch.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to our show, and if you've been watching live, thank you for putting up with my constant roulette of games that I have been going through tonight. Well, we will hope you will join us here on YouTube and on Podbean again next week for another show, because we do these every week, including on the YouTube.
Well, we try to.
Well, yeah, we do them every week whenever people aren't traveling for reasons and stuff. So again, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter at ZTriggerLive, and on Podbean and on YouTube as well. Please subscribe, do that all kind of lovely stuff, because that's important to the health of our show, especially now that YouTube has told us that they're not going to give us money at all until we get a lot more views. We like views as a result of this. As I play Assassin's Creed poorly, I'm begging for views.
A view to a kill?
An assassin's view to a kill?
Yeah.
That would be much better, I think, than Pirates Assassin's Creed.
Oh, I don't know. That movie was pretty horrible.
Yeah, but it had Christopher Walken as a villain, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah, but it had Grace Jones naked.
Oh, for Queen and Country, James. Oh, Kitty's gonna hate that we made this joke again. All right, everybody. Thank you again, and have a great week. Good night.
Later.
Be seeing you.
We clear?
Yes, and before I die of bladder problems, I want to go use the bathroom.
No, we're gonna record now. Use that Mountain Dew bottle.
We'll do it live.
Oh my god, Assassin's Creed. Let me catch this dude who's like 3 feet ahead of me.
I want to get the Ezio. Is that how it's pronounced?
Ezio the Firenze Auditore.
Yeah, the Ezio collection.
Okay,
but it's always like $50.
Those are the best games in the set, but you could just buy them for Xbox 360 for like $5 a piece.
Yeah, but I wanted to get on PS4.
Good thinking, but was it opening you to the option? I'm not updating those. They're good, but not that good.
Because on the 360, I own the first game and 4, which are not part of that set. So
I have all of them up through Unity, and that may be
you have Syndicate.
That does not. That's before Syndicate.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm going to buy Syndicate or Origins, even though Amanda played Origins doing testing for Ubisoft and said it was very good, but I just don't know. Why do I not get closer to this guy at all?
Maybe the series has jumped the shark.
Well, I mean, it did that whenever they started being pirates and you hung out with George Washington.
Did you play Rogue?
I didn't. So technically, but that one came out the same year as Unity.
I hear that's a pretty bad one.
It can't be worse than Unity. Unity is one of the worst games I've ever played, and I'm not. That's not hyperbole. It is utter dump. It is the worst of worst in terms of games of that caliber and budget should not be that terrible.
What about Brotherhood and Revelations? Any good?
Brotherhood and Revelations are supposed to be pretty good. I've played quite a bit of Brotherhood, and it's hard. It's harder than 2, and I like 2 a lot. I like 2 a lot more than that one. 2's the best one, bar none.
Apparently the 3rd one's available on Wii U.
Yeah, that's actually how I played it. It's not good.
Oh.
I'm going to pick up this body. Alright, buddy, come on. Excuse me, buddy. Alright, I'm going to come over here. Alright. Oh, I can't go there. Okay.
I'm going to go get some soda real quick.
Oh, crap. Now there's guards. Bye.
Just you, me, and my God!
Oh, run, guy whose name I don't know. I think you're Edward Kenway in this one. Eventually the rest of my cast will come back and we will record the other show. Ow! Stop shooting me. I don't want to die. Oh, you guys are jerks. Bye. Woohoo! If only. Was that Trent or Brandon?
I'm back.
Welcome back. I'm very happy that we got the new hamster wheel. It's much quieter than the other one.
Yeah, I haven't heard it at all.
I mean, I can hear it, but it's not as constantly loud and obnoxious as the other one. Oh, hi, guy. Bye.
So we had an accident at work like last week.
What happened?
A guy was on a piece of equipment and got his foot and ankle caught between the equipment and one of the racks.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah, he's lost his foot.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and that day I was just like, I'm glad I didn't see this.
True would have been like, if I had seen that, I would have gone and applied for another job. Because that's what Brad would have done. I would have
Thankfully, he's on the receiving end of the warehouse, which I'm not on. And the equipment he was on is something my side of the warehouse does not use.
That's good.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
I mean, the stuff we
awful.
do use, I think, is unsafe as hell. But yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, none of it's safe. It's warehouse equipment.
Yeah, I've gotten my foot caught almost on that equipment, and that was not fun.
That's a word for it. Oh, right. Okay, let's continue tutorializing, because tutorializing, you know, because Assassin's Creed assumes that you don't know how to play video games every time you start a new one.
You don't know how to play video games.
Well, I know, that's why I'm playing Assassin's Creed right now. Alright.
You should play, you probably don't own it, but you should play like Dishonored during one of these.
I have Dishonored. I'm very bad at Dishonored.
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow.
Oh! Bringing out the Eddie Murphy lines from Mushu. Yeah, that movie's not called Mulan, it's called Mushu.
That's the only reason to watch it.
Yeah? I mean, unless
I didn't
you really...
know Carrie Fisher did voice work for Dishonored. Huh.
Yeah.
They got a lot of popular people to do voice work in that game.
Alright guys, it's late as hell, so let's dive right in. Brandon, let me know when you're ready to roll tape.
Yeah, I'm going.
I have a second one to do. Alright, am I... What's that? Yeah. Okay, so, which book should I review, guys?
I don't know. What'd you read?
I finished The Wise Man's Fear, and I also read We'll Save the Galaxy for Food.
Just do We'll Save the Galaxy for Food.
Okay. We'll do that. I'll do that then. Alright. Good evening and welcome to the Z-Trigger Expanded Universe podcast. How are we doing this evening, everybody?
Pretty good.
Peachy.
My name is William Hill.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Trent.
And we are going to talk about books and things that are shaped like books that may not actually be books, but probably are. Alright, so what's everybody reading this week?
I am currently reading Ursula K. Le Guin's The Lathe of Heaven.
Is that part of that popular series, or it's just a different series altogether from her?
It's not a part of a series at all.
Oh.
Oh.
Very rare that you get... It's very rare you get a standalone.
Yeah. So that one's about a guy who can change reality during his dreams, and he's being manipulated by his psychiatrist.
What an asshole!
Yeah. And I'm also reading Stephen King's Dreamcatcher.
Ooh, Dreamcatcher. I read that one a long, long time ago.
It's actually pretty good so far. Stephen King considers it one of his worst books, but I like it so far.
Yeah, I always thought it was pretty fun.
I just think it reminds him of his car accident, because, he was writing that while he was in the hospital.
Well, I mean, he wrote the car accident into the book, too. So
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of pain in that book.
Yeah, I mean, and I liked it. I thought it was fun, so... I mean,
Of course, I liked the movie okay, too, which a lot of people thought was crap, so...
Oh, yeah. It's funny, though. So many people...
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. This is not fun, what I'm doing right now.
Haha, you got tackled.
Yeah, I know. It keeps happening. I'm about to get shot.
Run faster, asshole. Run. Jump into the water.
I knew it. I'm gonna get shot. Last time I got shot in the ass.
Clearly, we are still doing our live stream of Assassin's Creed 4, even though it's listed as
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4.
At least you kept the 4.
Right.
And the video game, if anyone was on the stream wanting to, and it was a big video game fan, they think that we're idiots now because we think that Fallout 4 is Black Flag.
So anyway, because the real meat of this podcast is our book discussion, we're going to... Brandon, what about you? What are you reading right now?
Nothing at the moment because I can't decide what I want to read. I know I'm going to have to jump into a longer book because that's sort of what I have left, and I don't particularly want to.
You can read that nice hardback book, expensive hardback book that you got.
Yeah, and that's part of that's high on the things to do, but I'm like, it's almost it's 800 pages.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God.
You could like go for Burke and read Jerusalem.
I want to read something I can understand. That book literally has another language that he created, right?
No, he didn't create it. James Joyce's daughter created it.
Oh, that
I thought
makes
you were
it
going to
better.
say James Joyce's dog created it.
Don't feel bad. For some reason, I was thinking the same thing.
featuring the writings of James Joyce's dog. A portrait of an artist as a young pupper.
Yes. And what Alan Moore is really trying to say is make this into a movie, assholes.
Yes.
I can see Alan Moore doing that.
Yes. I'm sure that was the goal. Because he's Alan Moore.
Yeah.
And then you find out that the NPCs can also swim in this game, and that you're not safe in the water anymore. But no, that's not true. I don't know why, out of all the 4 games in, and they still can't swim. What the hell?
They never learned to swim, you see? Because who needs to swim when you live in Cuba? Okay, so I'm actually between books as well, although I'm not actually between books. I've started 2 books very close together, and that was a mistake, because they're both good books. I'm currently reading the novel Everything Unusual by Nicholas Karatu, who's a friend of mine, actually, from when I lived in Winston-Salem. He recently released his first novel, and he sent me a copy, which was extremely nice of him, and it will be the next book I review for the show. Because
I got a question. Isn't Karatu one of the words that Ash has to say in Evil Dead 3?
It was... No, that's Barata.
Oh, okay. It just sounds like...
Barata Nictu.
Yeah, it just sounds like it would work.
Necktie. Nectar. Nickel. It's definitely an N-word.
So I'm reading that, and also Ann Lecky's new novel, Provenance, came out this week, and of course I bought it the day it came out.
You haven't finished it yet?
I've not actually read the first page because I had to finish reading the novel I'm reviewing tonight, and so I may use that as a segue to start discussing the book that I read this week for review. If that is okay with you guys. I don't know if you guys want to go first.
Knock yourself out.
Alright.
He wants you to do that literally.
He probably does. He might by the time I'm done reviewing this book. So, I believe I've reviewed one of Yahtzee Crowshaw's novels here on the show before. And that's pretty awesome because I really enjoyed his other 2 novels, which were Jam and Mogworld. Mogworld being his first book. They've all been published by Dark Horse, who is usually known as a comics publisher, but not this time. We'll Save the Galaxy for Food is the name of the book, and it is a pretty short little novel. It's a science fiction satire type thing, and it takes place after the golden age of space exploration, back in that time where glorious star pilots were needed to save planets and fight battles and all this. But now quantum tunneling has replaced all those wonderful pilots and the need for them. And pretty much every star pilot in the galaxy is now a bum. They hang out in quantum tunneling like ports, trying to sell the classic space exploration experience, like all holding up like cardboard signs, and it's really sad because they're basically homeless. And our hero, who we never really get a name for, is one of these bums, and he has just ruined his contract chartering these rich people on this lovely little expedition through the stars, showing him a plan that he once saved during the aforementioned Golden Age. He's kind of worked with some pirates to basically sell the luggage of these people while they're in flight and take a cut of the money. And because the microphone button on the radio is sticky, the passengers hurt him. So he's in a lot of trouble, and he has to make some money fast, or he's going to lose his ship. And he has this thought that he may take the black, he may cross the black and become a pirate just like everybody else has. But he doesn't, because he meets this woman. This woman is her name is Miss Warden, and she works for Mr. Henderson, who is a mob boss for all intents and purposes. This mob boss would love it if no, I'm skipping a very important element. Another thing that pisses all the star pilots off is that all of their stories of hold on.
Stories of a girl who cried rivers and drowned the whole world.
Oh my lord. Oh God, you did.
Sorry, I had to tend to a thing. All of these star pilots, their stories have been sold and turned into novels by a man named Jacques McKeon. And Jacques McKeon has reportedly made billions and billions of dollars off of all of these star pilots' stories of grandeur during the Golden Age. And every star pilot in the galaxy wants this guy dead. So Miss Warden approaches our nameless hero and says that all he has to do is come to this party and pretend to be somebody. She doesn't tell him who. Of course it's Jack McKeon. And and whenever he goes to the party, he meets this little twerp of a kid named Daniel, who is Mr. Henderson's son, who's 16 years old, and he has to pretend to be Jack McKeon. But, of course, because this is the mob, they're going to ID him. So, Miss Warden rewrites his entire ID chip to be Jack McKeon.
Oh boy.
Gets better. Mr. Henderson has bought the most expensive and nicest spaceship available for his son, so that Jack McKeon can take him exploring the galaxy in the nicest spaceship ever, which we'll get to that also in a second. It doesn't take long for everybody to find out that Jack McKeon, who has never been seen in public, of course, is on the station, and everybody can find him easily because the man who will now be referred to as Jack McKeon, because that's what Miss Warden calls him for the rest of the book, goes to a coffee shop and orders a cup of coffee, and his name shows up on the screen as Jack McKeon. And it immediately draws the attention of everybody. So he, of course, takes the job, and he then sees the ship that Mr. Henderson has bought for his son. It is the Corona God of Space Whales. That is the name of that is the class of ship. And it is this big, hulking, not even remotely flyable piece of garbage that the now named Jacques McKeon will have to fly around. Yeah. What follows is ultimately the most hilarious tale of mistaken identity, where Jacques has to evade pirates and other pilots because of the name he's taken on, and it is utterly hilarious. You get to explore a galaxy that is so cliche. It's so wonderfully cliche. It has so many little elements of science fiction that you see that is very old. Like there's so many like little riffs on things like Star Trek, for example. So all of the space pilots at some point or other had adopted these creatures called zoobs. And they were cute little guys because everybody thought it was great, these cute little animals. Until everybody discovered that they had a nasty murder streak if you didn't feed them. And they eventually would take over entire ships, pretending to be people in need of help.
Oh, good God.
So there's fun things like that in there. I won't spoil much of the things that go on in this book, but there's not a single bit of wasted information in it. If anything, though, my only complaint is that Jam was genuinely one of the funniest books I've ever read. It also didn't waste any time, but it also had something on literally in every chapter to kind of keep the levity up. And this is not as funny of a book. It's actually a lot more pointed. Such as that... So if you watch Yahtzee's more recent Zero Punctuation videos, he gets political from time to time, and he makes a lot of Donald Trump jokes. And and Mr. Henderson is a belligerent, angry orange man. So he makes a lot of references to how Earth fell apart and how Earth is now kind of a hellhole run by pretty much the worst politicians ever, and they are vaguely, obviously modern Republicans. So the politics of it are kind of amusing, but also kind of terrifying, because the world really did fall apart as a result of certain political administrations that jokes are made about. But it's not distracting from the book. It fits the aesthetic of what's going on. It definitely establishes why people from Earth are the way they are. Like, Miss Warden is from Earth, and she is insufferable. And kind of a complete and total moron when it comes to the situation they are in, because as the plot progresses and she realizes just how much trouble she's in with what happens very quickly in the book, she got promoted to the head of one of Mr. Henderson's divisions. The last time somebody got that, they died fast, as they were used to cover up the criminal dealings of his organization. And she wanted nothing to do with that, so she staged the kidnapping of Daniel and the president of Earth's daughter, who Daniel has the hots for. That's the kind of stuff that happens in this book. Again, I don't want to ruin too much of this book. I've already probably said more than I should have, but this is a book I recommend. But I say that with the caveat that this is not Yahtzee's best book. Jam is a much more concise novel in terms of handling all the things that it wanted to do. It was a much more unique take on its material, which was that of the Apocalypse novel. And this one's a pretty basic space adventure. And it's got some good riffs on what you expect from that. But it doesn't do anything to take away from the fact that there are a lot more cliches here than there are in Jam, which is a novel where strawberry jelly has eaten all of the people in Brisbane, Australia, except for the people who just happened to be high enough elevation when the jam attacked. So...
Okay.
Oh yeah, Jam's a great book, and it basically is just there to make fun of all the things that people say that they'll do if when the world ends or zombies attack or whatever. And one of them is an amazing spoof of Dawn of the Dead, because basically an entire enclave of hipsters take over the mall, and none of them know anything about actual survival. So, yeah, Jams, so I say that read this book, but also read Yahtzee's other two novels because they have more unique ground to cover than this one. I really like this one, and I enjoy it because I enjoy space adventure novels like this. It's just that I've seen him do better in terms of the types of stories he tells. And I want it to be known that it's good despite that. So, I think I've made that clear now. Yeah. We'll save the earth for food. It's pretty good stuff. Now it's one of you guys' turn. Go ahead.
Dun dun.
We should totally edit in music cues.
Oh my lord.
Especially that one from Reading Rainbow, whenever they had finished their book review.
Or we could always break out our old, our favorite awkward music line, which is the band.
Saved by the Bell one?
No, the
Da-na-na.
no, the bit of music from the end of episode 1.
Oh. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Although I think that Disney would have a problem with our podcast if we did that. All right, so, somebody review a book. Go ahead.
I was just going to say to that they haven't minded so far with that dentist guy that inserted himself in and changed it to be about root canals. Have you seen that?
I saw the news post about it, but I haven't looked at it. It looked absurd.
It is absurd. Oh, okay. I'll review my book. If that's...
I don't think Brandon's going to stop you.
Okay. So I read Robert McCammon's Speaks the Nightbird, which is the first in his Matthew Corbett series, which is the first series he did. It's the first book he wrote after hiatus from writing, which happened because his publisher was unhappy that he was no longer writing horror novels, and said they weren't going to publish anything but horror novels. And so he said, fine, nice. Well, yeah. So he was like, fine, then I won't write anything. This obviously is not a horror novel. It does have some aspects of horror in it. It's actually a mystery novel. I don't usually read those, but I'm a fan of Robert McCammon, having read 3 books of his so far. I read Swan Song, I read Mystery Walk, and, well, maybe I only read 2. But anyway, those 2 were good. No, I read They Thirst as well, which I didn't like as much, but I was pleasantly surprised by this book. It's set in 1699 in South Carolina. Well, what would become South Carolina. Just a little ways from what they call Charlestown, which I'm guessing became Charleston.
I would
just
think so.
Just to guess. Yeah, just to guess there, since they say it's set in the swamps, too. And all around Charleston is basically swamp and ocean. So it's this law clerk has traveled down to this small settlement That's about 30 miles from Charlestown. He's traveled with basically a judge who has become sort of a father figure to him. Rescued him from an orphanage when he was 17 or so, and they come to the town to judge a witch, and the law clerk, who is Matthew Corbett, who is he's the one that this series follows, not the actual judge guy. He's pretty certain pretty early on that this is not a witch. He doesn't really believe in witchcraft, but everyone else does, including the judge. There's a lot of talk about Salem and the witch trials there, which took place about 6 years before this. And it's meticulously researched, this book. I've seen interviews with Robert McCammon that said he was researching this book for years before it was written. But the book isn't really about this trial of the witch. There's some odd things also going on in this town that people accuse the witch of causing, even though she's in the jail. People are dying. There's Spanish gold being found in the bellies of turtles. Let's see what else is happening there. There's when it comes to the witchcraft, there's the damning evidence there that they use to accuse the witch is people having these people being getting this sudden urge to go to this part of town where they see the witch having sex with Satan, in all sorts of grotesque ways, which not much is left to the imagination about.
Well, one assumes that if you do such a thing with Satan, you would not be doing missionary.
Right. And all of these people accusing her, their stories match up, which, while I was reading the book, I was just like, so they could have all just met up and beforehand and gotten their story straight that way, but that's never brought up in the book. Oddly enough.
Who communicates
never once
stories?
Not once mentioned that could have happened. The way I'm describing this book doesn't really do it justice, because you can't. It's hard to describe a mystery book and do so without spoiling it. You know?
Yeah.
And as I said, I don't really read mystery books because I feel like they're, I read it once and oh well, that's done. Next. But I wouldn't mind reading this one again. But I'd rather read the rest of the series first. I believe there's 6 books in this series now. Although, besides the first 2 books, it's nearly impossible to get them in physical editions, because guess who publishes the books after the second one? Subterranean Press.
Are you serious? They're the exclusive publisher?
Yes, they are.
Oh, I hate that.
Now you can get the Kindle version or whatever. Fine. It's just if you want a physical copy. And Subterranean Press is sold out of like books 3 and 4. They don't sell anymore. books 5 and 6 haven't sold out yet, but yeah, I have a feeling I'm not going to get this in physical copy all the way through.
Yeah, unfortunately, that happens with them.
Yeah.
And they really like Robert. They seem to be going through all his material.
Is that where you got yours?
Yeah, that's who. Yeah, that's who published the version.
I wasn't sure if it was them or Cemetery Dance, because Cemetery Dance basically does the same things. I wanted to pick up the next book in this series right after I started, right after I finished this one. But I was like, I have to get through 7 more Stephen King books by the end of the year.
Which is in itself a challenge of its own.
Yeah. At first I was like, oh, I only need to get through 6, but then I remembered, oh, yeah, the new book came out this week. Crap.
Have you picked that up yet?
No, I have not. I've heard that, he wrote this this new one with his son, the son that is not Joe Hill.
The son who is an inferior to Joe Hill.
Right. And so I'm not really excited about it. But hey, I've said by the end of the year I'm gonna have read all of the Stephen King books except for those 2 books he wrote about the Red Sox in, because I don't care.
He wrote 2 books about the Red Sox?
Is it the Red Sox or the White Sox?
I didn't know he wrote any baseball novels other than The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon.
These are nonfiction.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah, well, I've read his other nonfiction stuff. I read On Writing and Danse Macabre.
Yeah, but at least that's in his profession.
Yeah, one was called, like, Faithful or something. As sort of like the Todd Rundgren album,
Yeah. One of the ones I don't have.
I think that one's all, like, the first side's all covers in that one, so.
Huh.
But, yeah, I highly recommend Speaks the Night Bird. There's a lot, there's not just one mystery in it, there's quite a few, and how it all came together in the end did surprise me a lot. I did not guess it at all. It's a long book. The way I read it, it was split up into 2 books. Wow. That's how it was originally released. I did it that way because I was like, hey, I can count this as 2 books on Goodreads. I cheated.
I should start doing that with the Night's Dawn trilogy by Peter Hamilton.
You should do that with any Peter Hamilton, as long as his books are.
His books are monstrous.
Yeah. Critically, these are considered Robert McCammon's best books. So, yeah, give it a shot. If you like historical fiction, or if you just like mystery books, I'm guessing it's a good mystery book. I wouldn't know because I don't read them. So yeah, that's my review.
All right.
5 stars.
Brandon, what will you be telling us about?
I guess I'll finish up my Metro 2033 discussion. I don't think I can say I really like this book. It spends way too much damn time dragging its fucking feet. It takes it's only like a 400 and some odd pages, and it takes about half of it for you to even reach the plot. I mean, it's weird. Like, the book starts out, you got your main character Artem, who is he lives in the metro along with the rest of the Russian people, and he meets this guy named he calls himself Hunter. He is a hunter. That's his name. That's his profession. And he is going off to check on something, but he gives Arton a mission. In case if he was to not return, he needs to go to a certain town, or not town, but a certain part of the gigantic metro and report. I don't really remember it saying what he is supposed to report on, but he's supposed to report. And for the next 200 plus pages, he's just walking and traveling, and it's not really doing anything other than just like, here's what's left of these people, and all they do is reflect on life and talk about the good old days, or they talk about the Russian Nazis that are there, or the communists that are there, or just random things that involve world building, but it's not the most interesting or subtle way of doing it, because it's just like, I've only just met you. Tell me about what's going on with the Fourth Reich. Why?
How old is this book?
It's not that old. It's 2010 was the original published date.
Okay, but is that the adaptation date for like the English print, or is that actually when the book came out?
Oh, first published in 2005. There we go. So it is 12 years old. I will note that this book is insanely popular among novels go. At this last number update it gave was over 2 million people have read this book. Wow. Which is quite a few. Within the first year, at least 500,000 Russians have picked this book up and read it, and then it spread out to the rest of the world.
It's impressive, to be honest. It is impressive.
Yeah, very. I just wish I can say that I can. The book does get better eventually when the actual fucking plot kicks in. It's like it doesn't adhere to like a standard narrative. It meanders so damn long that I find it interesting and I'm bored at the same time. Because it is interesting to read about what these people are going through and what's going on in this new society that they have made, but it's not doing anything. He's just walking and interacting with assholes, because that's mostly what everybody is. They're a bunch of fucking assholes. And eventually he does reach the place that the guy said him to go to, and they decide we're not going to do anything, because what's going on is there's just these whispers of something called the Dark Ones. These are they don't know anything about them. They keep coming into the metro because of something that happened in Artem's past. He's sort of responsible, and they don't know what's going on. They keep coming in, but this place says they're not going to do anything. And events happened that sort of just goes down to like not being able to communicate properly. And if we really could, then we could all just live in harmony and peace. But because we can't, we perceive everything. We're human, so violence is our first instinctual thing to go for. Once that half of the book starts going, it does pick up and get a little better. But overall, I don't really enjoy the constant discussions about, when I was a kid, we got to sleep in beds. God, how I miss sleeping in a bed. They're so nice and soft and clean. You probably don't even remember sleeping in a bed, and you get stuff like that, or you get talk about the superstitious stuff, because there's a lot of superstition going on, like ghosts and being in the metro, when it really is mostly just fucking. You're in a a closed space, and yes, your mind is going to start eventually messing with you. Though, to be fair, some people have just randomly died for no reason. And they do go to the surface a little bit here and there, and that's basically where the book ends, is on the surface. But overall, I can't say I thoroughly enjoyed the book. It's more akin to not trying to be a science fiction novel and more just literary fiction. Maybe that's why.
Like it's trying to bridge that subtle gap between the two.
Yeah, maybe that's why that so many people have read it. I mean, I can see how some people would enjoy it, but I just literally felt so long that I was just waiting for the plot to start. It's like I'm on this journey with him, and I'm waiting for shit to actually start happening, but nothing's happening ever. We're just, it's just every now and then something would take place. Oh, he ran into the fucking communists who are assholes. No. Yes, he did. He basically runs into every group. He runs into the communists. He runs into the Russian Nazis. God, that's weird. Their version of the Nazi symbol is missing one of the arms, so it's just a 3-armed swastika. Don't know why. But their idea is to throw all non-Russians onto the surface. We should get rid of them. But yeah, you don't know what's going on in the rest of the world. You just know what's happening in the Russia. You don't really know a whole lot. You do know that it was because of nukes. You do get a sense that rats are not your best friend. Early on in the book, it describes when they make it was a kid, his original metro was overrun by this horde of rats who basically ate everyone, and there was only like 4 people to survive, including him. Yeah. Which, with that said, these books, because there was a series, because of course there is, it eventually translated into a video game series, and they really did. They went through this book and chopped it up to bits to get the plot for the game, because they don't coincide with one another at all. They have the concept of the world. They have a concept of the Dark Ones, because what happens in the book with them and what happens in the game it does not go together at all. They definitely change things around quite a bit to make it a game. Almost to the point I began questioning of why it seemed like to me it would have been way more work than was necessary to go through the process of acquiring the rights to make it into a game. I guess they wanted the name.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah, so because it is more of it's definitely an action game. It's actually considered one of the better shooters you can get a hold of. But beyond just the having the Dark Ones and spending a lot of time in the metro, they do not have any similarities whatsoever. So, if you want something a little different in your post-apocalyptic fiction, go for it. It wasn't for me. I will give that other one, Roadside Picnic, a try.
Mm-hmm.
It probably will help that the book is shorter. that would have helped Metro a lot if he had just edited the damn thing down. It did not need to be 461 pages. It just didn't. There was just so much time wasted. You know, I understand some people like a lot of world building, but I like world building with a purpose. Beyond just learning what the lifestyle was, there was no purpose. So, yes, that's my review. Read it if you want something a little different, and you can stand Russians, because if you don't like Russians, you're not going to like this book, because that's all they are, is asshole Russians.
All right.
All right.
Oh my. Well, I do believe that is it for this week's installment or this 2 weeks or something. I think that's it for this installment of the Expanded Universe. Anybody got anything else they want to close on?
Nope.
All right.
My clothes are already on.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you again for listening. We hope you'll check back with us, and maybe you'll even subscribe to our lovely little show here, and on Podbean or on YouTube if you are watching the stream here. We also have our shows posting to YouTube now, which is a nice little break for if you like doing your listening through the YouTube Red, maybe. Anyway, we hope you'll join us again next time, where we will be reviewing other stuff. And until then, thank you all and good night.
Be seeing you.
All right. All right, guys.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
Tired. I'm wired. I'm ready to go. Let's go for another couple hours.